Welcome back to Go Winnipeg. Once again, we're here in Gimli talking about the Gimli Film Fest, and I have another local filmmaker, Andy Blicq. And you know what, Andy? There's never a shortage, I guess, of topics to bring to the table when you're doing a documentary, but yours is pretty special, right? Vietnam.
I mean, it's such a huge part of our history. I mean, it changed the way we live. You know, that period from 65 to 75, the core period of the war, everything changed.
Yes. Okay, so here this weekend, we're seeing a 42-minute version of something larger.
That's correct. This is a version that ran on the CBC. It's 42 minutes, and it's called Vietnam, Canada's Shadow War. And it reveals, it's a bit of an investigative piece about how this myth has emerged about the war in Canada, that we weren't really involved. We took in the draft dodgers and we stood on the sidelines. That apparently turned out not to be true. Like, we were in many ways supporting America. And it looks at some of the players. You know, there were at least 3,000 Canadians, and this is not well known, who volunteered and went down to the States, joined the American military, and went over. And most people don't know that. And as a matter of fact, I brought 3 of them with me, and I think you're going to talk to them later, aren't you?
We certainly will. I guess through this whole experience, Andy, what have you learned?
I think, I think for me the war was tragic, that it was a war of idealism, the war to stop the march of democracy in Southeast Asia. But for so many lives were affected. They don't really know how many Vietnamese people were killed, somewhere around 2 or 3 million. And, there were many Americans went over and served, about 500,000. And their casualties, about 50,000 casualties. It was a lot of casualties. So, it affected a lot of lives. And I think in the end, people came around to the idea that this probably was not a good idea. It was not a good idea.
Well, thank you once again for bringing this to the festival. Now let's meet some of the veterans that play a very important role in Andy's film. Why did you want to go fight, Rob?
I was just young and adventurous. I joined up with 3 of my best friends, and my one friend, Larry Collins, was killed in action over there in May 1st of '69.
What kind of memories do you have now about fighting in Vietnam?
I try to leave a lot of that behind me, and I concentrate more on what's happening today with all our veterans, and I try to help them out, and we have a lot of camaraderie and friendship with them.
What do you take from your experiences in Vietnam now?
I don't know, it made a man of me, I guess. I changed my line of thought. I desired, or had a great desire for life. It still didn't change my attitude as far as stepping into something that maybe was a bit of a jeopardy to my life. I left the Navy, the services, came back, went back to school for a year, and then joined the Winnipeg Police Force and spent 30 years with them. So I got my fair share there as well.
So Ron, what does it mean to be part of this movie for you?
Well, I feel really good about it. The whole idea of forming our association was to aid and support veterans and their families, and also to let Canadians know there's a generation of Canadians that fought against communism during the 60s and 70s. So this is a good opportunity for Canadians to know a little bit more about us and about how many served.